I go by Dynamic Bodhi on TikTok, and nobody really knows my name, and I kind of like it like that.
Okay, so you don't have to say anything unless you don't want to.
Yeah.
I know your name, I'm just saying.
There are a select few. I try to keep it not about me though, right? So I live in Georgia and I've lived here 13 years. And as far as what I do, like my real job, I'm a lawyer, part-time yoga. And then during the campaigns in the elections, I got super involved in all of that stuff. Georgia's being put in the corner right now because we dared to like show up to the polls and vote. I don't even. We had so much legislation pending this year, so much great stuff with respect to law enforcement being held accountable, with respect to foster care kids, Medicare, like all of that great stuff. And instead of doing the things that we really needed reform on, they pushed all of the legislation with respect to voting to the forefront. Oh, and also this week, the state of Georgia has declared the pecan the national or the state nut. And I'm like, that's awesome. That's awesome.
That's what they're busy doing.
That's what they're doing. It's really hard to get people motivated with respect to getting them voting still, because number one, it's our fourth time doing it. And we haven't stopped. The day that Ossoff and Reverend Warnock were announced that they won on the 20th was the day that our special election started here. So we have not stopped at all. And people are disenchanted. They are, and it's both sides. It's not just certain groups that I don't even speak their names. It's both sides of the aisle are frustrated with the voting process and how things are going. The good news is, and this is where I come in, is that no matter what the laws are, the courts still have to enforce them. So bring it. I am ready.
Right.
Ready.
So the honeymoon period is over because the Ossoff and Warnock won, and everyone's just back to being horrified because of all these restrictions that they're trying to put in for voting.
If they're paying attention.
Is it going to happen? I mean,
a lot of them already have. Yeah, a lot of they just criminalized handing out water to people standing in line. I mean, granted, that's not the biggest issue because people definitely don't go to vote for the free water, but they are just doing anything. In my opinion, I mean, I worked the polls every single day. They were not there for water.
Right.
What they're really trying to do, looking at all of the different pieces of legislation and putting it all together, is clearly disenfranchise those that are disabled, which really aggravates me as one of the bigger advocates for the disability community. They are really disenfranchising the rural voters because we don't have public transportation out here like y'all have all in your fancy places. And I am not in Atlanta. Okay. So Atlanta is considered a whole separate entity in and of itself in Georgia, you know?
And you're in the Savannah area?
I'm in the Savannah area, but in my town, Savannah is considered the big city. So my big thing is that some of these candidates that we've got that have already announced, I can't get behind because I don't want, like we just had with the 8 Dems and 1 independent, let's not forget them either, that didn't vote for the minimum wage raise. Like, what are y'all doing? What are you thinking? I don't understand that. And I want people who are actually going to get in, listen to the constituents. That drives me nuts. And then actually vote properly, not just based on whoever's the loudest or whoever sends the most money.
Yeah, that's what politics has become anyway now. It just is. I mean, I don't think that's changing anytime soon because there's still, interestingly enough, when the COVID happened and the whole celebrity culture kind of was put on the shelf for the
Yeah.
most part. There's no red carpets, there's no premieres, there's no thing, there's magazines. So what's a magazine? You know what I mean? So then politicians became like forefront. You know what I mean? So that's like an interesting twist to why they're in so much more of a visible demand for, you know, whether you want to take them down or thrust them up or whatever, but they're like getting that celebrity obsession, you know, awareness. So it's kind of up because they're the most scummy up people. I'd rather, you know, I'd rather, not that I'd obsess on a Kim Kardashian, but I'd rather have like, think of an actor that has like a craft than, you know what I mean, than a politician that's just taking money and grifting all day long, you know?
Well, we're seeing that too. I've noticed. I mean, I was never really into politics or anything like that before the election. And to be honest, I'm still not. I'm more interested in the process and the laws and getting work done. But our new actors are Marjorie Taylor Greene. You know, like she's acting. I mean,
Right.
that cannot be real.
That's
There's no way.
not real.
If that's real, then I can sell you some
It's like the
waterfront
way
property.
Trump's not real. It's like the way Trump from the beginning was not real. Like
Yeah.
the birther movement, that was all just for clickbait, and because he's, you know, he's not stupid when it comes to that shit. And I knew somebody way before in the beginning in 2015 that was friends with Corey Lewandowski, not friends, but just grew up and knew the families, whatever. And he told the guy that I worked on a project with, he said, Corey Lewandowski, he said, Trump is saying stuff just to get clickbait. And he's going to say whatever it takes. It doesn't matter. It's not like he doesn't believe half the things he's saying. And so that's become like a thing, you know?
Yeah. And that's where we are. I mean, we've got the one in Arizona, we've got the one in Texas. I mean, I don't say their names. I just can't bring myself to do it because I don't want to give them any more like platform than they already have. But we've also got, you know, it's not the first time we've had a celebrity be elected to anything. Look at Ronald Reagan, Schwarzenegger, you know, it's not unusual, but they have taken it way beyond where it needs to be.
Right.
You know?
And Schwarzenegger, I don't think was such a horrible governor in the end.
No,
Because he
it was
danced
more
a fine line because of his connection to his family that he married into. You know what I mean?
that. No, I mean, like we had celebrities that became politicians as opposed to politicians that now think that they're celebrities.
No,
you know, like
100%.
everything that woman does is purely for entertainment at this point. It's not for doing good for anybody.
But she's not going to read. She's not coming back in. I mean, Georgia's not going to vote her back in. No way.
She had other people running against her. It wasn't even like it was a race where she was the only one participating.
No,
I had to look that up. She had competition, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, but the one that was most likely to win ended up having to back out. I think there was some controversy.
No, there was one Dem opponent. I'm talking about the primaries. She actually had like 8 or 9 Republicans running against her.
Yeah.
And they still picked her.
Yeah.
Here's what I was thinking. You give me a Bible and a gun, I'll run for something on the red ticket. Go for it. If anything, it'll take the votes away from the ones that we don't want anymore.
I don't think you would do that either.
No, but it sounds good.
That would last about 5 minutes until you look in the mirror and go, what the am I thinking?
Who am I? What have I become? Yeah.
I better do some yoga and get back on earth here.
You have to know your community. You have to know your constituents. So I know my neighbors. I know what they like. I know what they don't like. And I target everything based around that. I would not know how to address people in Los Angeles or I don't know, like anywhere outside of my own, because I have made my domain here. So I think that's going to be an important thing to keep in mind, in the back of our minds, is that.
Yes, but the thing is, Georgia is an important state, no matter what.
I know, but the problem that we have here is that number one, everybody is so different. And I just realized my collar's jacked up. Number one is everybody is so different. Like Atlanta versus Savannah versus McIntosh versus Ludowici versus whatever. Number two, we have a major issue with follow through. Like you said, the lack of communication. There's a huge lack of organization. And I end up just doing a lot of stuff myself because I can't count on other people to do it. But my goal with that link tree, that one button, is to take everything from all of these different classes and then apply it to however it's best for my area, right? Which may be different for everybody else. But yeah, I'll help. I just, like right now, I don't really have any candidates to offer. We've got.
No, fine. I mean, I can't imagine that it's, I think it's, the thing is, I know it's early, but I'm putting this out there because come 6 months before the election, everyone's tits better be like ready to roll. You know what I mean? Including yours.
Well, and that's what gets me. Like, we already know that the governor is out. His people hate him. We don't want him. So why hasn't a certain young woman announced?
I don't think she's going to run.
I don't think she is either. I hate to say it. I think she's going to be moving on to other things, which
she is. She just got a deal, I think, with CBS.
Great, because Georgia needs you, but that's all right. You know, like.
I know, but the thing is, if she, for whatever reason, see, I think she's not married, right?
I don't know.
She's got no marriage. She's not married. She's got no kids. Do you think she wants to be the ire of a bunch of fucking scummy Republicans going, how come she's not married? Is she a lesbian? Blah, blah, blah.
Does it matter? I mean, well, that's their thing, you know? Like, I get.
The thing is that she's too fabulous to be dragged down by a bunch of scumbags. And I think she's got a bigger role in the Biden administration over the next year or so. Like, let Biden organize whatever basic bullshit he's got going now. But she's going to need what she did for Georgia. See, I think she should have been the head of the TNC, but that's just me. I think Jamie Harrison's sweet, but I just don't see him as like, you know what I mean?
There's a lot of, you have to fit within a certain box in this area. Like, because of the way I look, I am able to get around a lot of the other issues. But here, I was just talking to somebody on Thursday. If you don't fit within the certain category that the DNC wants, they're not going to support you. And I think that's why Stacey kind of took it her own way and went rogue and totally did something for Georgia in 2 years that took the rest of them 22, you know? And I took my model off of that because I had a lot of these people, and I will listen to my elders, but also you got to know when you got to go on your own. And I went rogue several times with these organizations and said, you don't live here, I do. And I know exactly how to do this. So
I don't know. I think, look, I'd love for her to do whatever it is she wants to be happy because America owes her a big one.
That's what we all need, right? Like,
but what she did, which was so smart, was that she structured her whole initiative based on the development of the church. That's what's so smart, and which is kind of how Barack Obama did his, you know, kind of grassroots in the people's handshaking to the real kind of the way it used to be done. You know what I mean? Now, I think people like Marjorie Taylor Greene are just doing sound bites and TikToks and whatever the she's doing over there. But so anyway, I'm still telling you that I need you to be my Georgia Connect. Bye, sweetheart.
Bye.